You wake before you understand that you are awake, as if the world itself has gently lifted you into consciousness, not with urgency, but with a quiet invitation, a soft shifting of light across your closed eyes that feels more like warmth than brightness, more like a memory than a signal. The air around you is cool, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and old stone, and beneath you the ground is firm but familiar, shaped over time by bodies that have rested here again and again, pressed into the same shallow curve, warmed by shared presence. You do not open your eyes immediately. There is no need. You listen first. The world speaks before it is seen. A low breeze moves somewhere beyond the entrance of the shelter, brushing through leaves with a slow, steady rhythm, and farther still you hear the distant call of something alive, soft, rising, then fading into the morning stillness. It is not a warning. It is simply a reminder. You are part of something vast, something already awake. Your breath is slow, deep without effort, your chest rising and falling in a rhythm older than thought, and as you shift slightly, you feel the presence of others nearby. A faint warmth to your left, the subtle sound of someone turning in their sleep to your right, the quiet closeness of a group that shares not just space, but life itself. There is comfort in this closeness, not the kind that is spoken or even fully understood, but the kind that exists in the body, in the quiet assurance that you're not alone in this morning, or any other. When you finally open your eyes, the light is gentle, filtered through the entrance of the cave in long, soft beams that stretch across the stone floor like pale fingers. Dust floats lazily in that light, drifting without urgency, each tiny particle visible for a moment before disappearing again into the unseen. You watch them for a while, not thinking, just noticing, as if time itself has slowed to match the pace of your waking body. The stone above you is rough, uneven, marked by shadows that shift as the light grows stronger, and you trace its patterns with your eyes, recognizing shapes you have seen every morning, shapes that have never needed names. There is something calming in this familiarity, in the quiet repetition of waking in the same place, under the same stone, with the same slow arrival of day. A sound beside you draws your attention, a soft exhale, longer than before, and you turn your head slightly to see one of the others stirring. Their eyes remain closed, but their hand moves, fingers curling gently against the ground as if testing the world, confirming its presence. You feel a subtle shift in the space, an almost invisible change as sleep begins to loosen its hold on the group, one body at a time. You push yourself up slowly, your muscles stretching without resistance, your body remembering what to do without instruction. There is no rush, no sudden movement, only a gradual unfolding, like the light itself. As you sit, you feel the cool air against your skin, brushing lightly across your arms and face, carrying with it the scent of morning, fresh, damp, alive. Outside, the world is beginning to reveal itself more clearly. The edges of the landscape sharpen as the light strengthens, and you can see the outlines of trees, their branches swaying gently, leaves catching the first rays of the sun. The ground beyond the cave is uneven, scattered with stones and patches of grass, and farther still, the land stretches outward in quiet openness, a place of possibility and quiet uncertainty. You stand slowly, feeling the weight of your body settle into your feet, your balance steady and grounded. There is a moment, brief but noticeable, where you simply exist in that position, awake, upright, present, without needing to move forward or decide anything at all. It is enough to be here, to feel the air, to see the light, to hear the soft awakening of the world around you. Behind you, more movement begins. A quiet murmur, barely formed. The sound of someone shifting, another beginning to sit up. There are no words yet, not in the way they might one day exist, but there is communication nonetheless, carried in glances, in gestures, in the shared understanding of routine. You look back briefly, meeting the eyes of another who has just awakened, and there is recognition there, simple and complete. No explanation is needed. You step toward the entrance of the cave, your feet finding their way across the uneven ground with practiced ease. Each step is deliberate but unforced, guided by memory stored not in thought, but in movement itself. As you reach the edge, The light touches you fully, wrapping around your form, warming your skin, and for a moment, you close your eyes again, not to sleep but to feel. The warmth is gentle, not yet strong, just enough to soften the coolness of the morning air. It settles into your shoulders, your face, your hands, and you lift one hand slightly, turning it so the light catches your palm. You watch the way it glows faintly, the lines and textures of your skin becoming more visible, more real. There is something grounding in this, in seeing yourself as part of the same light that touches everything else. A sound nearby draws your attention, a rustling in the grass, soft but distinct, and you turn your head slowly, scanning the area without urgency. Your eyes move across the landscape, noticing shapes, movement, patterns. You're not searching for anything specific, but you are aware, always aware. It is a quiet vigilance, not driven by fear, but by a deep understanding that the world is alive in many ways, some gentle, some not. The rustling stops, and in its place, a small creature emerges briefly from the grass, pausing just long enough to be seen before disappearing again. You watch it go, not with concern but with interest, a quiet acknowledgement of another life moving through the same space. Behind you, the others begin to gather near the entrance, one by one stepping into the light, each carrying their own slow awakening. There is no leader calling them, no signal that it is time. It simply happens, as naturally as the light itself. A shared rhythm, unspoken but deeply understood. You feel a subtle shift in the energy of the group as more bodies move into the open air, as more eyes adjust to the morning, as more breaths align with the steady pulse of the day beginning. There is a sense of readiness, not rushed, not forced, but present. A quiet understanding that the day will unfold, and you will move within it together. For a moment no one moves further. You will stand or sit, or lean against the stone facing outward, watching the world as it becomes fully visible. The sky has begun to brighten, the pale hues of early morning deepening into soft blues and warm golds, and the land stretches before you with a calm openness that feels both inviting and infinite. You notice the way the shadows shorten slightly, the way the light begins to touch more distant parts of the landscape, revealing details that were hidden moments before. A rock formation farther out, a cluster of trees beyond that, the faint glimmer of something reflective, perhaps water, just at the edge of your vision. Your body feels awake now, fully present, your senses open, your awareness spread outward like the light itself. There is no separation between you and the world in this moment. You're not observing it from a distance. You are within it, moving with it, shaped by it. A quiet sound from one of the others, a low, soft vocalization, draws a few glances, and there is a subtle exchange, a shared acknowledgement. It is not a conversation in the way it might one day become, but it carries meaning. A suggestion, perhaps, a recognition that the day has begun, that there is movement ahead. You feel it too, not as a thought, but as a gentle pull, a natural progression. The stillness of waking begins to give way to the slow unfolding of action, of small tasks, of movement through the land. Nothing urgent, nothing forced, just the next step in a rhythm that has always been. You take a breath, deeper this time, filling your lungs with the cool, fresh air, and as you exhale you step forward, out of the shelter, into the open morning. The ground beneath your feet is slightly damp, the grass cool against your skin, and each step connects you more fully to the world you're moving through. Behind you, the others follow, not in a line, not in any strict order, but together, loosely connected, each aware of the others without needing to stay close. It is a balance between independence and unity, a quiet understanding that you're both individuals and part of something larger. As you move a few steps farther from the cave, you pause again, turning slightly to take in the space behind you, the shelter that has held you through the night, the place of rest and safety. It remains there, unchanged, steady, a point of return. And yet your focus shifts forward, toward the open land, toward the day that is beginning to unfold. There is no plan in the way you might one day understand it, no list of tasks, no defined schedule, and yet there is direction, there is purpose, woven into the very fabric of your existence, guiding your movements, your attention, your choices. You feel it in the way your eyes scan the ground, noticing details without effort. In the way your body leans slightly towards certain paths, certain areas of the landscape. In the way the group subtly aligns, not perfectly, but enough to move in a shared direction. The morning continues to brighten. The light now stronger, warmer, and the world feels more alive with each passing moment. Sounds become clearer, more varied. The distant call of birds, the rustle of leaves, the faint movement of something unseen. Each sound adds to the texture of the day, a layered symphony that you're both hearing and part of. And as you stand there, on the edge of movement, on the threshold of the day, there is a quiet sense of continuity, of being part of something that has happened countless times before and will happen countless times again. A rhythm that does not demand understanding, only participation. You take another step forward, and then another, and the day begins. You move slowly at first, not because you are unsure, but because there is no reason to hurry. The ground unfolds beneath your feet in subtle variations, patches of soft earth giving way to small stones, then to flattened paths worn by repeated movement. Each step is felt, not just taken. The coolness of the morning lingers near the surface of the land, and you can feel it rise faintly through the soles of your feet, a quiet reminder of the night that has only just passed. Around you, the others spread out slightly, each following a natural inclination, though no one strays far. There is comfort in this loose formation, in knowing that the group remains within sight, within sound, within reach if needed. A glance to your left reveals one of the older members moving with practiced ease, their steps deliberate, their gaze focused not on any single point, but on everything at once. There is something to learn in that way of seeing, though no one stops to explain it. The air carries new scents now, more defined as the sun rises higher. You notice the faint sweetness of crushed grass underfoot, the earthy richness of damp soil warming slowly, and somewhere ahead something sharper, more distinct, a hint of something edible, though you do not yet see it. Your body responds before your mind fully forms the idea, a quiet awareness that there is something to be found. You follow that awareness, your path shifting slightly, your attention narrowing just enough to notice details you might otherwise pass by. The ground changes again, becoming softer, more textured, dotted with low-growing plants that spread outward in uneven clusters. You crouch without thinking, your body lowering smoothly, your hands reaching out to brush lightly against the leaves. They are cool to the touch, slightly rough along the edges, and when you press one gently between your fingers, a faint scent is released. Subtle, but familiar. You have encountered this before. Not all plants are safe, not all are worth taking, but this one carries a quiet recognition. You pause, not out of hesitation, but out of respect for the process, for the act of noticing. Beside you, a younger member of the group watches closely, their movements slower, more tentative. Their eyes follow your hands, observing each motion, each small decision. You do not speak, but you do not need to. You pluck a small portion of the plant, bringing it closer to your face, inhaling its scent again, confirming what your senses already suggest. Then slowly you place it in your mouth. The taste is mild, slightly bitter at first, then softening into something more neutral. Your body accepts it. No resistance, no warning. You nod slightly, not as a signal, but as a quiet confirmation, and the younger one mirrors your action, carefully selecting their own piece, repeating the process with a focus that feels both cautious and eager. This is how knowledge moves, not through words, but through presence, through watching, trying, feeling. Around you, others have begun similar small tasks. One kneels near a patch of darker soil, using a simple tool, smooth stone shaped by repeated use, to loosen the earth, searching beneath the surface for roots or small creatures that hide from the light. Another stands near a low branch, reaching up to test the firmness of small fruits, pressing gently before pulling them free. There is no single activity that defines this moment. It is a quiet collection of actions, each small on its own, but together forming the beginning of sustenance, the first gathering of energy for the day ahead. You continue moving, rising from your crouch position and stepping forward, your eyes scanning again, your senses open. The land here is generous, but it does not give without attention. You must notice what others might miss. The slight difference in colour that marks a useful plant, the subtle movement that reveals something alive beneath the surface. A faint sound catches your ear, a soft tapping, irregular but deliberate, and you turn to see one of the others using a stone to crack open something hard-shelled. The rhythm is slow, controlled, each strike measured to break without scattering. You watch for a moment, noticing the precision, the patience. When the shell finally gives way, revealing the softer interior, there is no celebration, only a quiet continuation as the contents are gathered and shared. You feel a subtle shift in your own body now, a gentle stirring of hunger, not sharp or urgent, but present. It guides your attention, encourages you to seek more, to gather what is needed. You move toward a slightly higher patch of ground, where the plants grow more sparsely and the soil is drier. Here the textures change again. The leaves are thicker, more rigid, and the stems resist slightly when you press against them. You test a few, breaking one gently, watching how it snaps, how it feels in your hands. Not all are useful. Some are left untouched, their purpose lying elsewhere in the balance of this place. You find another cluster, smaller, closer to the ground, with leaves that curve inward slightly. You kneel again, brushing aside the top layer to reveal what lies beneath. Your fingers move through the soil with familiarity, parting it carefully, searching without haste. And then you feel it, a firmness beneath the surface, something that does not belong to the soil itself. You dig a little deeper, uncovering a small root, pale against the darker earth. You pull it free slowly, brushing away the dirt, examining its shape, its texture. This one is known. This one is safe. You bring it to your mouth, biting gently. The taste is earthy, slightly sweet, grounding. It fills the space of your hunger just enough, not fully, but enough to continue. Nearby, the younger one has followed again, watching, learning. This time you do not need to demonstrate. They begin to search on their own, their movements less hesitant now, more guided by the patterns they have just observed. You glance at them briefly, a quiet acknowledgement, then return your focus to the land. Time passes without being counted. The sun rises higher, the light becoming warmer, more direct. Shadows shift, shortening, changing the way the ground appears, the way certain details stand out or fade. You adjust without thinking, your eyes learning to see in this new light. The group gradually gathers small amounts of food, not in a single place, but within reach of one another. There is sharing, but it is not structured. It happens naturally, someone offering a piece, another accepting, a subtle exchange that reinforces the quiet bonds between you. You sit for a moment on a flat stone, the surface warmed slightly by the sun, and bring together what you have gathered. A few leaves, a small root, something harder that requires a bit more effort. You use a stone to break it open, mimicking the rhythm you observed earlier, feeling the slight resistance, then the release. As you eat, you do so slowly, not out of necessity, but because there is no reason to rush. Each bite is noticed, each texture felt, each flavour experienced in its simplicity. There are no distractions here, no competing signals, just the act of nourishment, quiet and complete. Around you, the others do the same. Some sit, some remain standing, some move slowly as they eat, continuing to gather small amounts as they go. There is a fluidity to it all, a lack of rigid structure that allows each moment to unfold as it needs to. A soft sound rises from one of the elders, a low, rhythmic hum, and for a moment it draws the attention of those nearby. It is not a song in the way it might later be defined, but it carries a pattern, a repetition that feels familiar, comforting. It blends with the sounds of the environment, the wind, the distant calls, the subtle movements of life around you, becoming part of the morning's atmosphere. You feel it resonate faintly within you, not as something to analyze, but as something to experience. A reminder perhaps that even in the quiet work of gathering, there is space for connection, for shared presence beyond the physical. The younger ones begin to mimic the sound, softly at first, then with more confidence, their voices weaving into the pattern. There is no correction, no instruction, just participation. The sound grows slightly, then fades again, returning to the quiet as naturally as it began. You finish what you have in your hands, brushing them lightly against each other to remove the remaining bits of soil. Your body feels more awake now, more energized, the initial stillness of morning fully replaced by a steady readiness. You stand again, stretching slightly, your gaze lifting toward the horizon. The land ahead remains open, inviting further movement, further exploration. What you have gathered is only the beginning, a small part of what the day will require. The group begins to shift once more, not all at once, but gradually. Those who have finished eating start to move, their paths aligning loosely, their attention turning outward again. There is no signal, no command. It simply happens, as it always does. You take a step forward, then another, feeling the transition from stillness to movement, from gathering to seeking. The morning has settled into its rhythm now, and you move within it, guided by senses, by experience, by the quiet understanding that there is always more to find, more to learn, more to become. And as you walk, with the others near and the land unfolding before you, you carry with you the small, steady energy of what you have just taken in. A reminder that even the simplest acts, done with attention, sustain not just the body, but the rhythm of life itself. You move deeper into the landscape now, the ground slowly changing beneath your feet as the familiar area near the shelter fades behind you, replaced by a wider stretch of land that feels both known and unknown at the same time. The air carries more warmth as the sun rises higher, and with it, new scents emerge: dry grasses, distant water, the faint trace of something animal that has passed through not long before. You notice these things without pausing, your awareness stretching outward, gathering information in quiet, continuous layers. The group spreads a little more here, not drifting apart, but giving space for each pair of eyes to see more, for each set of hands to notice what others might miss. You feel this shift without needing to think about it, adjusting your path slightly so that you're not too close to one person, nor too far from another. It is a balance that has no rules, only instinct. Ahead, the land dips gently, forming a shallow valley where the grass grows taller and thicker. The movement of the wind becomes more visible here, rippling across the surface like a slow wave, bending the blades in unison before releasing them again. You pause at the edge of this space, your body still, your eyes scanning. This place offers more, but it also asks for more attention. You take a step forward into the taller grass, feeling it brush against your legs, cool near the base where the sun has not yet reached, warmer near the tips where the light touches. The sensation is soft but noticeable, each movement parting the grass in a quiet path that closes behind you as you pass. A faint sound reaches you. Almost nothing at first, just a slight disturbance within the natural rhythm of the wind. You stop again, not abruptly, but smoothly, your body settling into stillness. Your head tilts slightly, your ears focusing, filtering through the layers of sound. There it is again, not wind, something smaller, closer. You shift your gaze, not moving your body, allowing your eyes to do the work. A slight movement to your right, low to the ground, quick but controlled. You do not react immediately. You watch. You let the pattern reveal itself. A small animal, barely visible among the grass, moving in short bursts, then stopping, then moving again. It is not aware of you yet, or if it is, it does not see you as a threat. Not now. You remain still for a moment longer, then slowly, carefully, you lower yourself into a crouch. The grass surrounds you more fully now, your presence blending into the texture of the land. You feel your breath steady and quiet, your body aligned with the stillness around you. This is not a hunt, not yet. It is observation. Nearby, one of the others has noticed your shift in posture. They stop as well, their body mirroring yours in a way that feels natural, unspoken. Their gaze follows yours, and together, without words, you both focus on the same small movement within the grass. The animal moves again, slightly closer this time, its path uncertain, guided by its own needs, unaware of the quiet attention it has drawn. You watch the way it navigates the terrain, the way it pauses, listens, then continues. There is something to learn here, not just about this creature, but about movement itself, about timing, about the delicate balance between action and stillness. After a few moments, you slowly rise again, letting the animal pass without interference. There is no need to act on every opportunity. The day is long, energy must be used with care. You glance briefly at the other who had paused with you. There is a shared understanding in that look, a quiet acknowledgement of what has just been seen, what has been chosen. Then, without hesitation, you both continue forward. The valley opens further ahead, revealing a patch where the grass thins, giving way to scattered stones and low shrubs. The ground here is drier, the colour shifting slightly, the scent of the air changing again. You notice a cluster of plants near a rock formation, their leaves broader, their colour deeper. You approach slowly, your steps measured, your eyes attentive. As you near, you kneel once more, your hand reaching out to touch one of the leaves. It is thicker than the others you encountered earlier, its surface slightly waxy, holding moisture within. You press gently, then bring your fingers to your nose, inhaling. There is a faint sharpness to it, something that suggests caution. You do not take it immediately. Instead, you observe more closely, comparing it to what you know, what you remember. Some plants nourish, some harm. The difference is not always obvious. You look around, noticing if others have approached similar plants, if there are signs of previous use. A broken stem, a disturbed patch of soil, any indication that this has been touched before. You find none, so you leave it. This too is part of survival, knowing when not to take. You rise again, brushing your hands lightly against your legs, removing the fine dust that has settled there. The sun is higher now, its warmth more present on your skin, and you feel a subtle shift in your body, more alert, more engaged, the quiet energy of the morning building into something steadier. The group continues to move, weaving through the landscape in a pattern that feels almost organic, like water finding its way through uneven ground. There is no straight path, no fixed direction, only a general flow guided by instinct, by memory, by the subtle cues of the environment. You notice a change ahead, a line of darker green cutting across the land, where the ground dips slightly again. Water, not visible yet, but suggested by the growth, by the density of the plants. Your pace adjusts slightly, not faster, but more focused. As you approach, the sound reaches you first, a faint trickling, soft and continuous, blending with the other sounds of the day. Then, through the gaps in the vegetation, you see it. A narrow stream, its surface catching the light in small, shifting patterns. You step closer, kneeling at the edge, your hands reaching down to touch the water. It is cool, refreshing, the sensation immediate and clear. You cup your hands, lifting a small amount to your mouth, drinking slowly. The taste is clean, simple, grounding. Around you, others gather as well, each finding their own place along the stream, drinking, washing their hands, some simply watching the movement of the water as it flows steadily onward. You sit back on your heels, observing the way the current moves around small stones, how it changes shape without resistance, always finding a way forward. There is something calming in that, something that mirrors the way your own day unfolds, not forced, not rigid, but guided by the path of least resistance, by the natural contours of the world. A child nearby reaches into the water, their fingers disrupting the surface, creating small ripples that spread outward. They watch, fascinated as the patterns shift, as the water responds. An elder gently guides their hand, showing them how to cup the water, how to drink without losing it. Again, no words, just demonstration, just presence. You rise once more, your body feeling balanced, sustained, connected. The morning has deepened now, moving beyond the quiet beginnings into a steady rhythm of activity and awareness. There is more to the land, more to explore, more to gather, more to understand. You take a final look at the stream, at the way it continues without pause, then turn your gaze outward again, toward the wider landscape that still waits. And without needing to decide, without needing to plan, you begin to walk again, your steps aligning with the subtle movement of the group, your senses open, your awareness steady, as the day continues to unfold around you, one quiet discovery at a time. You move with a slightly different awareness now, something quieter but more focused settling into your body, as the land begins to shift again beneath your feet. The open ease of gathering gives way to a deeper kind of attention, one that asks not just for observation, but for patience. The ground here tells stories, though not in ways that are immediately obvious. You begin to notice the interruptions, small breaks in the natural patterns, disturbances that hint at movement not made by wind or water, but by something living, something walking, something that has passed through this space before you. You slow, almost imperceptibly, not stopping, but easing into a different rhythm. Your steps become softer, your weight placed more carefully. The others feel it too. There is no signal, no command, yet the group subtly adjusts, spreading out less now, drawing slightly closer, though still without forming any rigid shape. You're no longer simply moving through the land. You are reading it. Ahead, the ground shows a faint impression. Pressed earth where something heavier has stepped. You lower yourself slightly, your eyes narrowing just enough to focus on the detail. The shape is not perfect, but it is enough. A rounded edge, a slight indentation, the direction hinted at by the way the soil has shifted outward. You do not rush toward it. You pause. You let your body absorb the information. How deep is it? How recent? The edges are still defined, not yet softened by wind or time. You reach out, your fingers brushing lightly against the surface. The soil is still slightly moist beneath the top layer. Not long ago. You glance up, scanning the area ahead, then to the sides, then back again. The track does not stand alone. Once you have seen one, you begin to see others, fainter but present. A path not straight but consistent enough to follow. You rise slowly, your gaze lifting to meet that of another nearby. There is a brief stillness between you, a shared recognition. No words are needed. The understanding moves through the group in quiet waves, each person adjusting their awareness, their posture, their movement. This is not urgency, it is alignment. You begin to follow, not directly stepping on the marks, but moving alongside them, keeping them within view. Your pace remains slow, deliberate. Each step is chosen, placed with care to avoid unnecessary sound. The ground here is uneven, scattered with small stones and patches of dry leaves that could easily betray careless movement. But your body knows how to move through this space. It has learned. The wind shifts slightly, brushing against your skin, carrying with it new information. A faint scent. Animal. Warm. Alive. You inhale slowly, letting it settle, letting it guide you without overwhelming your senses. It is not strong, but it is present. You pause again, lifting your head slightly, your ears tuning to the subtle layers of sound around you. The distant calls of birds continue, the soft movement of leaves, the quiet hum of insects, but beneath it, something else, a heavier movement, faint but rhythmic. You lower yourself once more, your body close to the ground, your eyes scanning through the gaps in the vegetation ahead. The others do the same, each finding their own position, their own line of sight, while still remaining connected through shared awareness. There, in the distance, partially obscured by low shrubs and uneven terrain, you see it. Not clearly at first, just a shape that does not belong to the stillness of the land. Then it moves. A large animal, its form solid and grounded, moving slowly as it grazes. Its head lowers, then lifts, its body shifting with a calm, steady rhythm. It is not alone. As your eyes adjust, you begin to see more shapes. Others nearby, spaced out but connected, forming a loose group of their own. You remain still, your breath controlled, your body aligned with the ground beneath you. This moment is not about action. Not yet. It is about understanding. You watch the way they move, the way they position themselves, the way they respond to the environment. One lifts its head slightly higher than the others, its ears turning, listening. Another shifts its weight, stepping forward, then pausing. There is a pattern here, a quiet communication within their group, just as there is within yours. You feel the presence of the others around you, each observing, each processing. No one moves ahead, no one breaks the stillness. This shared pause is part of the process, part of the rhythm that allows you to exist alongside these creatures without immediately disrupting them. Time stretches here, not measured, but felt. The sun continues to rise, the light growing stronger, casting clearer shapes across the land. Shadows shorten, details sharpen. The animals remain unaware, or at least unalarmed. You remain unseen, or unrecognized. A subtle shift occurs within your group. One of the more experienced members moves slightly, repositioning just enough to gain a better view, to understand the terrain more clearly. You follow this movement with your eyes, noting how they choose their position, not too exposed, not too hidden, balanced. You adjust slightly as well, your body moving with care, your hands pressing gently against the ground to support your weight without creating sound. The earth beneath you is firm but not unforgiving. It accepts your presence as long as you move with respect. Your eyes return to the animals. You notice the way they favor certain areas, the way they move toward patches of thicker growth, the way they remain within a certain distance of one another. These details matter, not in isolation, but as part of a larger understanding. This is not a chase. It is a conversation, though one without words. The wind shifts again, slightly stronger this time, brushing across your face from the direction of the animals. You feel it, recognize it, and remain still. The scent you carry is not yet reaching them. You're positioned well. But this will change. You know this, not as a thought, but as a certainty. The wind will move. The light will shift. The animals will not remain here forever. There is a quiet tension in this awareness, but it is not sharp or stressful. It is steady, contained, part of the balance you exist within. You do not rush to resolve it. You let it exist. One of the animals lifts its head more fully now, its gaze turning slightly in your direction. You do not move. Your body becomes still in a deeper way, your breath slowing even further, your presence blending into the shapes and textures of the land. The animal watches for a moment, its ears twitching, its body alert but not alarmed. Then, slowly, it lowers its head again, returning to its grazing. You feel the subtle release within your own body, not as relief, but as a continuation. The moment has passed. The stillness remains. The group holds this position a little longer, observing, learning, allowing the scene to imprint itself into memory. Every detail matters, even if it is not immediately understood. Then, gradually, without any single signal, the tension softens, not disappearing, but shifting. This is not the moment to act, not this time. You begin to move again, slowly, carefully, backing away rather than turning abruptly. Your steps are measured, your body remaining low until there is enough distance to stand more fully. The others do the same, each maintaining awareness until the animals are no longer in clear view. When you finally rise to your full height, the air feels different again. The focused stillness gives way to a broader awareness, your senses expanding outward once more. The land opens back up around you, the immediate intensity replaced by a quieter, steadier rhythm. You glance at the others, brief eye contact passing between you, not to confirm anything, but to acknowledge the shared experience. You were there. You saw. You understood, even if only partially. This is how the day unfolds. Not every opportunity becomes action. Not every encounter leads to capture. But each moment adds to something deeper, a growing understanding of the world, of movement, of timing, of balance. You take a breath, deeper now, letting the air fill your lungs, letting your body settle back into its natural rhythm. The sun is higher still, the warmth more present, the shadows shorter. The day continues, and so do you. You turn slightly, your path shifting once more, guided not by urgency, but by the quiet pull of what comes next. You return to a slower rhythm again, the intensity of watching giving way to the steady grounding movements of hands and tools. The land opens into a familiar working place, not marked by structures or boundaries, but by memory. You recognize the arrangement of stones, the scattered remnants of earlier activity, the subtle signs that this is where work returns, again and again, like a quiet center within the wider world. You settle near a flat stretch of ground where several smooth stones lie gathered. They are not random. Each has been chosen, shaped, used, and left here with intention. You lower yourself to sit, your legs folding naturally beneath you, your body finding a position that feels both relaxed and ready. In your hands, you pick up one of the stones. It is cool at first, its surface worn smooth in some places, rough in others. You turn it slowly, feeling its weight, its balance. This is not a new object. It carries the memory of use, of repeated contact, of purpose shaped over time. Nearby, another member of the group is already working, their hands moving in a steady, practiced rhythm. They hold a piece of harder stone and strike it against another, not with force, but with precision. Each movement is controlled, measured, guided by experience rather than strength. A small fragment breaks away, sharp and clean. You watch for a moment, not as a student in the way it might one day be understood, but as someone aligning with a shared practice. Then you begin. You position your stone carefully, holding it in one hand while the other lifts a smaller, harder piece. You pause, not from uncertainty, but to feel the angle, to sense where the pressure should be applied. Then, gently you strike. A small piece chips away. You pause again, examining the edge that remains. It is not yet what you need, so you adjust, turning the stone slightly, changing the angle, and strike again. Another fragment falls, landing softly on the ground beside you. This is not fast work. It is not meant to be. Each movement requires attention, not because the task is difficult, but because it is precise. Too much force, and the stone breaks in the wrong place. Too little, and nothing changes. You learn this not through instruction, but through doing, through the quiet feedback of the material itself. Around you, others are engaged in similar tasks. Some shape stone, others work with pieces of wood, smoothing them, trimming them, preparing them for use. There is a gentle rhythm to it all, the soft tapping of stone against stone, the scrape of wood, the occasional shift of bodies adjusting their position. No one speaks, yet the space is not silent. The sounds themselves become a kind of shared language, each rhythm blending into the next, creating a steady, almost meditative atmosphere. You feel it settle into you, guiding your movements, keeping your pace calm and consistent. A small piece breaks away cleanly under your hand, revealing a sharper edge beneath. You run your finger lightly along it, testing its shape, its usefulness. It is closer now. Not perfect, but closer. You continue. Time moves differently here. The sun shifts above, but you do not track it. Your awareness remains within the task, within the sensation of your hands, the weight of the stone, the sound of each strike. Occasionally you glance at the others, not to compare but to connect. A brief look exchanged, a subtle adjustment mirrored. One of the elders works nearby, their movements slower but more precise. You notice the way they hold the stone, the angle of their strikes, the patience in their pauses. Without thinking, you begin to mirror those small details. Your next strike is softer, more controlled. The stone responds. A cleaner edge forms, more defined, more useful. You feel a quiet satisfaction, not as excitement, but as alignment. A sense that your movement and the material have come into harmony. Beside you, a younger member watches closely, their hands resting on their knees, their gaze fixed on your work. You do not stop. You continue shaping, allowing them to see not just the result, but the process, the repetition, the adjustments, the patience. After a moment, they reach for their own piece of stone, mimicking your grip, your posture. Their first strike is too hard. The piece shifts awkwardly, a fragment breaking in a way that is not useful. They pause. You glance at them briefly, then back to your own work. No correction is given. Instead, you adjust your next movement slightly, making it more visible, more deliberate. You slow the strike, showing the control rather than the force. They watch, then try again. This time, the strike is softer, more precise. A small piece chips away cleanly. There is no celebration, no acknowledgement needed. The learning has happened. The rhythm continues. Somewhere nearby, someone begins working with a piece of hide, stretching it gently, smoothing it across a surface, preparing it for use. The sound is different, softer, more fluid, but it blends into the same calm pattern of activity. You finish shaping the edge of your tool, turning it in your hands once more, testing its balance. It is ready, not perfect, but sufficient. It will serve its purpose. You set it down beside you, not discarded, but placed with intention. It will be used again, or someone else will use it. The object is not owned in the way it might one day be. It exists within the group, within the shared flow of need and use. Your hands rest for a moment on your legs. You feel the slight fatigue in your muscles, not heavy, not draining, but present. A reminder of effort, of work done. You stretch your fingers slowly, opening and closing them, feeling the movement return fully. The air is warmer now, the sun higher, casting a steady light across the working space. Around you, the others continue, each absorbed in their own task, yet connected through the shared rhythm. There is no urgency to finish, no pressure to produce more than what is needed. Work is not separate from life here, it is part of it. You lean back slightly, placing your hands behind you, feeling the ground support your weight. Your gaze lifts, moving beyond the immediate space of tools and materials, out toward the wider landscape once more. The land remains as it was, open, shifting, alive. And yet something has changed. Not in the world, but in you. The act of shaping, of working with your hands, has settled something deeper, aligning your body and mind in a quiet, steady way. You feel grounded, present. Nearby, someone lets out a soft, low sound. Not a call, not a signal, just a release of breath shaped into tone. It lingers briefly, then fades. Another responds, not directly, but with a similar sound, slightly different in pitch. The rhythm of work begins to soften, hands slow, movements become less focused, more relaxed. The tools are set down, not all at once, but gradually, as each person reaches a natural pause. There is no clear end, no defined moment when work stops. It simply transitions. You sit upright again, your body lighter now, your energy steady. The day has moved forward, and so have you. And in this quiet space between effort and rest, you feel something simple, something constant. You are part of this rhythm, and it continues, gently, without force, carrying you into what comes next. The shift from work to rest does not arrive all at once. It unfolds gently, like the slow drifting of clouds across the sky, barely noticeable until you realize the light has softened. The steady rhythm of shaping and striking fades into quieter movements, hands brushing dust from legs, body stretching, tools set aside with quiet familiarity. You feel it in your own body first, that subtle release, a loosening of focus, a widening of awareness. You lift your gaze again, not searching, just allowing your eyes to wander. The land feels different now, not because it has changed, but because your attention has. The details that once demanded precision now settle into a broader picture. The sway of distant trees, the shifting light across the ground, the slow passage of time marked only by the sun's movement overhead. Nearby, a few of the younger ones have already begun to drift away from the working space. Their movements are lighter, less deliberate, guided more by curiosity than purpose. One runs a short distance, then stops abruptly, crouching to examine something in the dirt. Another follows, not in pursuit, but in shared interest. Their energy moves differently, quicker, less contained, but still connected to the same rhythm that holds you all. You watch them for a moment, noticing the way they interact, not through instruction, but through imitation, through shared discovery. One picks up a small stick, tapping it lightly against a stone, then again, experimenting with the sound. Another joins, creating a slightly different rhythm. The sounds are uneven at first, but there is a pattern forming, a loose coordination that begins to feel intentional. You feel a faint shift in the air around you, not physical, but social, a soft turning inward among the group. The intensity of survival has eased for now. There is space for something else. You rise slowly to your feet, your body responding without resistance. The ground feels warm now beneath you, the earlier coolness replaced by the steady heat of the sun. You take a few steps away from where you had been sitting, not toward anything specific, just moving, letting your body guide you. A soft sound reaches you, different from before. Not the sharp rhythm of tools, but something more fluid, more continuous. You turn your head slightly, locating its source. One of the elders sits near a cluster of stones, holding a hollow piece of wood, gently tapping it with their fingers. The sound it produces is low, resonant, carrying through the air with a subtle depth. You move a little closer, drawn not by curiosity alone, but by the feeling the sound creates. It is steady, not rushed, each tap spaced with intention. Others nearby begin to notice as well, their movements slowing, their attention shifting toward the source. Another joins using two small stones, striking them together in a softer, higher rhythm. The sounds begin to layer, not perfectly aligned, but complementary. There is no leader, no defined structure, yet something begins to form, a shared rhythm, emerging naturally from individual actions. You feel it in your body before you fully recognize it, a subtle urge to move, to align your breath, your posture, your presence with the pattern unfolding around you. One of the younger ones begins to sway slightly, their movements unstructured but responsive, their body following the rhythm without needing to understand it. Another imitates, then another, until small, gentle motions ripple through the group. You do not join immediately. You watch, you listen, you let the rhythm settle more deeply into you. The sound grows, not louder, but fuller. More layers, more variation. Someone hums softly, a low tone that blends with the tapping, adding another dimension to the experience. It is not a song with words, not something that tells a story in the way it might one day. It is something simpler, more immediate, a shared expression of presence. You step forward slightly, your body beginning to move in small ways. A shift of weight from one foot to the other, a gentle sway of your shoulders. It is not performance, there is no audience, only participation. The ground beneath you feels different now, not just as a surface, but as part of the rhythm. Each movement connects you to it, each step a quiet acknowledgement of the space you share. Around you, others move in their own ways, some swaying, some tapping their hands against their legs, some simply sitting and listening. There is no expectation to match, no pressure to align perfectly. The rhythm holds you all, allowing each person to exist within it in their own way. You notice the expressions on the faces around you, not exaggerated, not dramatic, but softened, open. There is a quiet ease here, a release from the focused effort of earlier, a different kind of connection, one that does not require action or decision. A child laughs softly as their movement becomes more playful, their steps quicker, less controlled. Another responds, chasing them briefly, their laughter blending with the rhythm, adding a lightness that spreads through the group. You feel it too, not as laughter, but as a gentle lifting within your chest, a sense of ease that moves through your body. The day, with all its quiet demands, has created this space, and now you are within it. The sound begins to shift again, not ending, but evolving. The tapping slows, the intervals between beats stretching slightly. The humming softens, fading in and out like the breeze. You lower yourself back to the ground, sitting once more, your body relaxed, your breathing steady. You rest your hands on your legs, feeling the warmth of your skin, the subtle pulse beneath. The younger ones continue to play nearby, their energy gradually softening as well, their movements slowing, their attention shifting from action to rest. One lies back on the ground, looking up at the sky, their gaze following something unseen. You follow their gaze for a moment, lifting your eyes to the open sky above. It is clear, vast, the blue deepening as the sun climbs higher. A bird crosses overhead, its movement smooth, effortless, disappearing beyond your view. You watch until it is gone, then lower your gaze again. The group settles into a quieter state now. The rhythm fades, not abruptly, but naturally, as if it has completed its purpose. The sounds dissolve back into the ambient noise of the world, the wind, the distant calls, the subtle movements of life continuing around you. You feel a deep stillness settle in, not empty, but full, a sense of balance, of having moved through effort and into rest without resistance. Someone nearby leans against another, their bodies touching lightly, sharing warmth without thought. Another lies on their side, eyes half closed, not sleeping, but resting in a way that feels just as complete. You shift slightly, adjusting your position, letting your body settle more fully. Your hands rest loosely, your shoulders relaxed, your breath slow and even. There is no need to speak. Everything that needed to be shared has already moved through you, in movement, in sound, in presence. The day continues, but in this moment, there is nothing to do, nothing to decide, only to be here, only to feel the quiet connection that surrounds you, that includes you, that reminds you, without words, without effort, that you belong to this rhythm just as it belongs to you. And as the light continues to warm the land and the soft sounds of the world carry on, you remain there steady and present, allowing the moment to unfold without interruption. Until, gently, almost imperceptibly, the rhythm shifts again, and something new begins to form. The stillness does not break, it transforms. You begin to notice it not as a sudden change, but as a quiet stirring beneath the surface of rest. The bodies around you remain relaxed, yet something in the space between you grows more attentive, more aware. It is as if the silence itself is beginning to speak, not in sound, but in presence. You shift slightly where you sit, your eyes moving from one person to another. The group is small, but each presence feels distinct, like different shapes within the same landscape. You begin to notice the subtle ways each person exists within the group, the way one leans forward when listening, the way another keeps their gaze low but aware, the way an elder sits still, yet somehow holds attention without asking for it. This is where something deeper lives, not in movement, not in work, but in connection. A soft gesture begins it. One of the elders reaches out, not far, just enough to brush their fingers lightly against the arm of the person beside them. There is no urgency in it, no clear reason, just a small contact, warm, brief, and intentional. The other person responds without hesitation, their hand turning slightly, resting against the elders for a moment before pulling away. No words, no explanation, just acknowledgement. You watch this, and something inside you recognizes it. These are the threads, the invisible lines that hold the group together. A younger member moves closer to another, sitting beside them, their shoulder lightly touching. They do not look at each other directly, but their bodies align, their breathing gradually falling into a similar rhythm. You notice how natural it feels, how there is no hesitation, no need to ask permission. The closeness is not questioned. You feel a subtle pull within yourself, not toward any one person, but toward the shared space itself. You lean slightly, shifting your position so that your arm brushes against the ground closer to another nearby. They notice, not with their eyes, but with their body, adjusting just enough to allow the contact. It is small, but it matters. Time continues to move, though it is not measured. The sun has shifted again, its warmth now fuller, wrapping around you in a steady embrace. The shadows are shorter, the light more direct. The day is deepening, and within this space something begins to emerge, not conflict, but difference. One of the younger ones reaches for a tool lying nearby, a shaped stone, recently worked. Another notices at the same time. Their hands meet briefly over it, both pausing. There is no immediate reaction, just stillness. Their eyes meet, not with tension, but with awareness. A moment stretches, delicate but not fragile. The object itself is simple, but what it represents, the need, the use, the connection, holds weight. One hand withdraws slightly, the other hesitates. Then, slowly, the one who first reached pulls their hand back completely, allowing the other to take it. There is no loss in the gesture, no visible frustration. Instead, there is a quiet understanding, a balance maintained not through force, but through yielding. You notice this. You feel it. This is how harmony is preserved, not by avoiding difference, but by moving through it gently. The one who now holds the tool does not immediately use it. Instead, they look briefly toward the one who released it. A pause, a small shift. Then they begin to work, but their movements are slower, more mindful, as if carrying the awareness of that exchange within them. The other watches for a moment, then turns away, their attention shifting elsewhere. The moment dissolves, not erased, but integrated. You take this in, not as a lesson, but as a feeling. Nearby, two others sit facing each other, their hands moving in small gestures, touching the ground, then their chest, then pointing outward. Their sounds are soft, low, not structured into language, but carrying meaning through rhythm and repetition. One responds with a mirrored gesture, slightly altered, as if refining the idea. You do not understand it fully, but you feel its intention. This is communication before words, a sharing of thought through movement, through tone, through presence. You watch as one of them reaches for a small object, a piece of bone, smooth and worn, and hands it to the other. The exchange is careful, deliberate. The receiving hands hold it with attention, turning it slowly, examining its shape. There is value here, not in ownership, but in meaning. You shift your gaze again, taking in the whole group. Each interaction, each small movement forms part of a larger pattern. No one stands apart, no one dominates. The balance is fluid, maintained through constant adjustment, through awareness of one another. You feel it within yourself, that quiet awareness, that subtle responsibility. To exist not just as an individual, but as part of this living, breathing connection. A child moves closer to you now, their steps light, their eyes curious. They stop just within your space, looking at your hands, then at your face. You do not move away. You do not reach out immediately. You simply remain. After a moment, they sit beside you, their presence warm, their body relaxed. They mimic your posture slightly, their hands resting on their legs in the same way yours are. You glance at them briefly, then back out toward the land. This is enough. The connection does not need to be acknowledged. It simply exists. The air feels thicker now, warmer, carrying the scent of sun-warmed earth and distant vegetation. A breeze moves through, softer than before, brushing against your skin in a way that feels almost like a touch. You close your eyes for a moment, not to withdraw, but to feel more deeply. The sounds of the group continue around you, the quiet movements, the soft tones, the subtle exchanges. You feel your breath, slow, steady, connected. When you open your eyes again, the group remains as it was, yet somehow more unified, more settled. The small moments of connection, of exchange, have woven something stronger, something that does not need to be seen to be felt. This is where life happens, not just in survival, but in relationship, in the quiet agreements that form and reform with each passing moment, in the balance between taking and giving, between leading and yielding. You shift your weight slightly, preparing to move again, though you're not yet sure where. The day is still unfolding, and there is more ahead. But you carry this with you now, this understanding, this feeling, that you're not separate, that every movement you make, every choice, every pause exists within the shared rhythm of the group. And as you rise slowly to your feet, the others begin to shift as well, not because you have moved, but because the time has come. The sun continues its steady path, the land remains open, and together, without needing to decide, you begin to move once more into the next part of the day. The light has changed again by the time you begin to walk, not suddenly, but in a way that settles quietly into your awareness. The sun now sits higher, its warmth more constant, wrapping around your shoulders and back as you move. Shadows have drawn closer to the bodies that cast them, and the air feels thicker, slower, as if the day itself has reached a steady, grounded breath. You walk with the others, not in a line, not in any fixed formation, but with a shared direction that feels almost like memory guiding your feet. The land ahead is familiar in parts, unfamiliar in others, yet nothing feels entirely new. Everything carries some trace of recognition, shapes of rock, patterns in the soil, the way certain trees lean or twist as they grow. Your body moves with ease now. The earlier effort of the morning has softened into something sustainable, a steady flow of energy that does not rise or fall sharply. Each step is placed with quiet confidence, your feet adjusting to the uneven ground without needing to look down. Your eyes remain forward, scanning, receiving. The group spreads slightly again as you move, each person drifting into their own path within the shared direction. You notice how this space allows for both solitude and connection at once. You're alone in your movement, yet never separate from the others. A soft incline rises ahead, the ground lifting gently, covered in scattered stones and patches of dry grass. You begin to climb, your steps slowing slightly, your muscles engaging in a deeper way. The earth feels warmer here, the sun's heat held more firmly in the exposed surface. As you reach the top, the land opens. You pause, not because you must, but because something in you responds to the view. Below, The terrain stretches outward in a wide, quiet expanse. Low trees dot the landscape, their shadows small and clustered beneath them. Farther out, the ground dips again, where darker vegetation suggests another source of water hidden from this distance. The sky above feels larger here, uninterrupted, vast. You stand there for a moment, your chest rising slowly with your breath, your gaze moving across the distance without focus on any one point. The others gather near the crest as well, some standing, some crouching, each taking in the space in their own way. There is no discussion, but there is understanding. This is a place to see and to decide, not through words but through sensing, where the land draws you, where the resources may be, where the balance of effort and reward feels right. Your eyes move toward the darker patch below, where the vegetation thickens. Water, likely. With it, more life, more possibility, but also more awareness required. You feel the weight of that knowledge settle gently into your body, not as hesitation, but as preparation. Beside you, one of the elders shifts their stance, their gaze following a similar path. Their hand lifts slightly, not pointing directly, but gesturing in a subtle arc toward the same area, a suggestion, not a command. Others notice. A quiet alignment begins to form. You feel it too, that shared pull, the group gradually orienting itself toward the same direction. There is no urgency in the decision, no sudden movement, just a slow, collective agreement, forming naturally. You begin the descent. The ground slopes downward more steeply on this side, the soil looser, the stones less stable. Your steps adjust, your body leaning slightly back to maintain balance, your feet finding firm points with practiced ease. Each movement is careful, but not tense. The air changes again as you move lower. It becomes cooler, slightly more humid. The scent of vegetation grows stronger, richer, layered with hints of water and life hidden within it. You hear it before you see it. A faint chorus of small sounds, buzzing, rustling, the soft movement of unseen creatures moving through leaves and soil. It is not overwhelming, but it fills the space in a way that feels alive, active. You slow slightly, your awareness sharpening once more. Not tense, but attentive. This is a different environment than the open spaces above. Here, things are closer, less visible, more intertwined. The group responds in kind, drawing a little closer together again, not tightly, but enough to remain within easy awareness of one another. You step into the edge of the thicker vegetation, the ground softening beneath your feet. Leaves brush against your legs, some cool, some warmed by the sun. Branches shift gently as you pass, releasing faint scents into the air. You move with care, your hands occasionally reaching out to part the plants, to steady yourself, to feel what lies just beyond your sight. A low-hanging branch catches your attention. Small fruits hang from it, their colour muted but distinct against the green. You step closer, reaching up, your fingers closing gently around one. You pause, noticing the texture, the firmness, the slight give beneath your touch. You bring it closer, inhaling its scent. Faint, slightly sweet, familiar enough. You take a small bite. The taste spreads slowly, soft, mild, carrying a subtle sweetness that grows as you chew. Your body accepts it easily. No resistance. You gather a few more, not taking all, leaving many behind. There is always a balance, taking enough, but not too much. Others nearby begin to notice as well, following your example, each repeating the same quiet process. Observe, test, accept. You eat slowly as you move, your body absorbing the energy without urgency. The act of nourishment blends seamlessly with movement, with exploration, with awareness. A soft rustling to your left draws your attention again. You stop, listen. There is movement there, but smaller, lighter than before. You shift your gaze, parting the leaves slightly. A small creature darts across the ground, quick and low, disappearing beneath a cluster of roots. You watch it go, your body remaining still for a moment longer, confirming that nothing else follows. Then you move on. The vegetation begins to thin slightly as you move deeper, opening into a small clearing where the ground is darker, richer. The air here feels cooler still, the shade more consistent. At the centre, a narrow stream moves quietly, its surface darker than the one you encountered earlier, shaded by the surrounding growth. You step closer, kneeling at the edge once more. Your hands dip into the water, feeling its coolness, its steady movement. You bring it to your mouth, drinking slowly, the sensation grounding, refreshing. Around you, the group settles again, each finding a place within the clearing. Some sit, some stand, some move along the edge of the water, scanning, observing. You remain where you are for a moment, your hands resting on your knees, your gaze following the movement of the stream. The day has reached a deeper point now. Not the beginning, not yet the end, but something steady in between. You feel it in your body, the balance of effort and rest, of awareness and ease, of connection and individuality. You lift your head, looking once more at the others, at the space you share, at the quiet life unfolding around you. And without needing to say it, without needing to define it, you understand there is still more to come. The day is not finished. And as you rise again, the next part begins to take shape, just beyond the edge of what you can see. The light begins to soften in a way that is almost unnoticeable at first, a subtle shift that settles into your awareness like a quiet breath. The warmth of the sun remains, but it no longer presses down with the same steady weight. Instead, it spreads more gently across the land, stretching longer shadows between the trees, softening the edges of everything you see. You stand near the edge of the clearing, your body still, your senses open. The stream continues its quiet movement beside you, a constant presence, its sound blending into the background of the world. Around you, the group has begun to shift again, not abruptly, but with a quiet understanding that the day is turning. This is the time to return. Not because something has been said, but because it is felt. You notice it in the way one of the elders rises slowly, brushing their hands against their legs, their gaze lifting toward the direction from which you came. Another follows, then another. The movement spreads through the group like a gentle ripple, each person responding in their own time, yet aligning with the same quiet intention. You take a breath, deeper than before, filling your lungs with the cool, damp air of the clearing. Then you turn. The path back is not marked, yet it exists clearly in your body. The shapes of the land, the direction of the light, the memory of your steps, all of it guides you without effort. You begin to walk, your feet finding the ground with practiced ease, your pace steady and unhurried. The group gathers more closely now than it had earlier. Not tightly, but with a subtle cohesion that feels protective, intentional. The open exploration of the day gives way to a more unified movement, a shared return. The vegetation brushes against you as you move, leaves whispering softly with each step. The sounds of the clearing fade gradually behind you, replaced by the broader, more open sounds of the land beyond. The air grows slightly drier, warmer again as you move away from the water. You walk alongside others now, sometimes slightly ahead, sometimes slightly behind, your position shifting naturally. There is no fixed place, no assigned role, only presence. A soft vocal sound rises from somewhere within the group, a low, steady tone, almost like a continuation of the earlier rhythms. It is not loud, not demanding attention, but it carries through the air in a way that feels grounding. Another responds, not in imitation, but in harmony. The tones overlap briefly, then separate, then return again. It is not music in the way it might later be understood. It is something simpler, a shared expression of being here, together, moving through the same space. You feel it resonate within you, not as something you must join, but as something that supports your movement, your breath, your presence. The ground begins to rise again as you move away from the lowlands, your steps adjusting to the incline. The sun now sits lower in the sky, its light warmer, more golden, casting a soft glow across the landscape. The shadows stretch longer, creating patterns that shift with each step you take. You pause briefly at the crest of the incline, just as you had earlier in the day, though now the feeling is different. The land below is familiar, the path you took, the spaces you passed through, but it carries the imprint of the day, the quiet memory of movement and experience. You look out across it, not to analyze, but to feel. This place has held you, and now it releases you. You continue walking, descending toward the shelter, the stone formation becoming visible in the distance. It sits where it always has, unchanged, steady, waiting without expectation. The air grows cooler as the sun lowers further, the warmth fading slowly from your skin. You feel it in the slight tightening of your muscles, in the way your body begins to seek the comfort of closeness, of shared warmth. The group draws nearer together again, the space between you narrowing as you approach the shelter. The movement becomes slower, more deliberate, as if the day itself is asking you to ease into its closing moments. When you reach the entrance, you do not go inside immediately. No one does. Instead, you gather just outside near a space where stones have been arranged over time, where the ground is darker, marked by repeated use. Someone kneels. You watch as they begin to prepare the fire. The motions are familiar, small, precise, practiced. Dry pieces of plant material are gathered, placed carefully. Stones are adjusted. A spark is coaxed from friction, from patience, from repetition. You kneel as well, not to take over, but to be present, to observe, to support if needed. The process is slow, intentional. The first faint thread of smoke rises, curling into the air, thin and fragile. You watch it closely, your eyes following its movement as it drifts upward, dissolving into the evening light. Then a small flame. It flickers, uncertain at first, then steadies as more material is added, as the air feeds it, as the process continues. The fire grows slowly, its light warm and alive, casting soft, shifting patterns across the ground and the faces around it. You feel its heat reach you, gentle at first, then stronger, pushing back the coolness of the evening air. The group settles around it, forming a loose circle. Some sit, some crouch, some remain standing for a moment before lowering themselves to the ground. You find your place naturally, your body lowering, your hands resting on your legs. The fire becomes the center, not by decision, but by presence. Its light draws your gaze, its warmth draws your body closer, its movement captures your attention in a way that feels both calming and endless. The sounds of the world begin to shift again. The distant calls of daytime creatures fade, replaced by softer, more subtle sounds, the rustle of night beginning, the faint movement of unseen life emerging in the shadows. You feel the change, not as a boundary, but as a transition. Someone passes a piece of food across the circle, something gathered earlier, something prepared simply. It moves from hand to hand, each person taking a portion, not in equal measure, but in a way that feels balanced. When it reaches you, you take it, your fingers closing gently around it. You pause for a moment, feeling its texture, its warmth from the fire. Then you eat, slowly. The taste is simple, familiar, grounding. It carries the memory of the day, the gathering, the movement, the effort. You chew without rush, your gaze occasionally lifting to meet that of another across the fire. There is no need to hold the gaze, no need to look away quickly. It is just a moment, shared, then released. The fire crackles softly, small bursts of sound as the wood shifts, as the flame consumes and transforms. You watch it, the way it moves, the way it never stays the same, yet remains constant. Around you the group is quiet, not silent, but calm. Soft sounds rise occasionally, low tones, brief gestures, small exchanges, but nothing breaks the stillness. You feel your body begin to slow. The energy of the day settles. Your muscles soften. Your breath deepens. The warmth of the fire wraps around you, blending with the cool air that moves gently at the edges of the circle. Above, the sky begins to darken, the blue deepening, the first faint hints of night appearing. You lift your gaze briefly, noticing the shift, the subtle appearance of something distant, something constant. Then you lower your eyes again, back to the fire, back to the circle, back to the present moment. You're here. The day is closing, and in this quiet space, surrounded by warmth, by light, by presence, you feel something steady and complete. Not the end, but a pause, a moment of rest before the final descent into night. The fire settles into a steady rhythm, its earlier flickering uncertainty now replaced by a calm, even glow. The flames rise and fall gently, never rushing, never still, their movement slow enough to follow, soft enough to soothe. You find your eyes returning to it again and again, as if each small shift of light carries something worth noticing. The air has cooled further now, and you feel it against your skin in contrast to the warmth of the fire. It brushes lightly across your arms, your face, slipping through the spaces between bodies and stone. The difference between warmth and coolness creates a balance, a quiet harmony that your body understands without needing to think. You adjust your position slightly, drawing your legs closer, your hands resting near your knees. The ground beneath you holds the memory of the day's heat, though it fades slowly, giving way to the deeper coolness of night. The stone behind you is solid, steady, offering support without softness. Around you, the others have settled fully now. Some lean into each other, shoulders touching, heads resting lightly. Others sit upright, their gaze fixed on the fire, their presence quiet but aware. The circle feels complete, not closed, but whole. A soft sound rises from one side of the group, lower than before, slower, almost like breath shaped into tone. You turn your head slightly, not to focus directly, but to include it in your awareness. Another sound follows, different in pitch, but matching in pace. Then another. The sounds do not build into rhythm this time. They stretch, long, gentle, like the fading light itself. You feel them in your chest more than you hear them, a resonance that aligns with your breathing. Your inhale deepens slightly, your exhale lengthens. Without effort you join, not with a defined sound, but with a soft release of breath that carries a tone just above silence. It blends with the others, indistinguishable, part of the whole. This is not performance, it is presence. The tones drift in and out, never constant, never forced. They rise when they need to, fade when they don't. The fire continues its quiet movement, responding to nothing, yet somehow part of everything. You lift your gaze slowly toward the sky. It has deepened now, the blue turning darker, richer. Small points of light begin to appear, faint at first, then clearer as your eyes adjust. You watch them, not counting, not naming, just noticing their quiet persistence. The vastness above does not feel distant. It feels connected, as if the same stillness that holds the stars also holds you. You lower your gaze again, returning to the fire, to the circle. The tones have softened further now, fading into the background, replaced by the natural sounds of the night beginning to take shape. A faint rustle beyond the edge of the light, a distant call, low and brief. The subtle movement of unseen life. Your body remains relaxed, but your awareness stays open. The night carries its own rhythm, its own balance between safety and uncertainty. You feel it, not as fear, but as attentiveness, a quiet readiness that does not disturb your calm. Someone nearby shifts slightly, their movement slow, careful not to break the stillness. They lie down, turning onto their side, their body curling gently inward. Another follows, then another. The circle begins to lower, not all at once, gradually. You feel it in yourself too, a gentle pull downward, a natural desire to rest. Your muscles soften further, your spine relaxing, your head tilting slightly as your body begins to prepare for stillness. You shift your weight, lowering yourself onto one side, your arm resting beneath your head. The ground is firm but familiar. Your body knows how to settle here, how to find comfort within simplicity. The fire continues to burn, though lower now, its flame smaller, its glow deeper. It will last for a while, enough to hold the edge of the darkness, enough to provide warmth through the early part of the night. You watch it for a few moments more, your eyes half open, the light dancing softly across your vision. The shapes blur slightly as your focus relaxes, the movement becoming more abstract, more soothing. Your breathing slows, deepens. Each inhale fills you gently. Each exhale releases without effort. Beside you, you feel the presence of another, their warmth close, their breathing steady. It aligns with yours gradually, not perfectly, but enough to create a shared rhythm. The sounds of the night continue, but they no longer feel separate. They become part of the same space you occupy, part of the same quiet existence. You close your eyes, not completely at first, just enough to soften the light. The fire's glow filters through your eyelids, a faint warmth that fades slowly as your body settles further. Your thoughts, if they exist, do not form clearly. They drift, like the smoke that rose earlier, without direction, without weight. There is no need to hold on to anything from the day, no need to review, to analyze, to remember. Everything that mattered has already been lived. Your body holds it, your breath carries it. The rhythm continues. Your awareness begins to narrow, not in tension, but in softness. The edges of your perception fade gently, the world becoming quieter, simpler, more distant. The warmth of the fire, the coolness of the air, the steady presence of those around you, these remain. Everything else begins to dissolve. Your breath slows further, in, out, a pause between, longer now. Your body sinks more deeply into the ground, supported, held. The firmness beneath you no longer feels hard, it feels stable, certain, safe enough. The night stretches outward, vast and quiet, holding everything within it. You're part of it, not separate, not observing, just existing within it. Your breathing becomes softer still, your muscles release fully, the last traces of movement leave your body, and as the fire dims, as the stars settle into their silent patterns above, as the group rests together in shared stillness, you drift. Not abruptly, not completely, but gently, into sleep. The fire no longer dances, it breathes. You do not see it at first. Your eyes are closed, your body deep within rest, your breath slow and steady. But somewhere beneath sleep, beneath the quiet weight of your body sinking into the earth, there is still awareness, faint, distant, like a memory that hasn't yet decided whether it belongs to waking or dreaming. The warmth has softened. What was once a steady glow is now a low pulse, a gentle radiance that rises and falls with the smallest movements of air. Embers settle into themselves, shifting quietly, glowing deeper red, then dimming, then glowing again. You drift, not fully asleep, not fully awake, a space in between. Your breath continues, slow and even, but your mind begins to move in ways that do not follow the patterns of the waking world. Shapes begin to form, not clearly, not sharply, but as impressions, sensations more than images. You are walking, or you remember walking. The ground beneath your feet feels familiar, but it shifts as you move. Sometimes it is the soft grass from earlier, cool against your skin. Sometimes it becomes stone, uneven and firm. Sometimes it disappears entirely, leaving you suspended in a space that feels both vast and contained. You do not question it. There is no need. This is the world beneath thought, the world where memory and imagination are not separate. A figure appears beside you. You do not turn your head to see them. You simply know they are there. Their presence is warm, steady, familiar. It could be someone from your group. It could be many people at once. It could be something older, something that has always been. You feel no fear, only recognition. The air in your dream carries scent. Earth, smoke, something faintly sweet. The same scents that surrounded you during the day, now woven together in a way that feels deeper, more meaningful. You reach out, not physically, but with awareness, and the space around you responds. The ground shifts again. You're no longer walking, you're observing, watching yourself move through moments that have already passed, gathering plants, touching water, sitting by the fire. But everything is softer now, slower, as if time itself has stretched to allow you to feel each moment more completely. You notice details you did not notice before, the exact curve of a leaf, the way light rested on someone's face, the rhythm of footsteps beside your own. These are not new experiences, but they feel new, because you are seeing them without the need to act, without the need to decide. Your body, lying near the fading fire, shifts slightly. A small movement, a deeper exhale. Your hand brushes lightly against the ground, fingers curling unconsciously, as if reaching for something within the dream. Nearby, another breath rises and falls. Someone else moves. Not awake, just turning, adjusting. The group remains connected, even here, even now. The fire crackles softly, a single ember shifting, releasing a faint thread of smoke that rises into the dark. The air carries it upward, dispersing it slowly into the night. The sounds beyond the fire grow clearer. Without the daytime noise, without movement and activity, the wilderness speaks more openly now. A distant call, low, stretched, echoing through the darkness. Another responds, farther away. Not a threat, not close enough. Just part of the vast network of life continuing beyond the edge of your small circle. You hear it, even in sleep, not as a sound to react to, but as something that settles into the edges of your awareness, reminding your body of where you are, safe enough, aware enough. Your dream shifts again. The figure beside you fades, replaced by movement, faster now, less grounded. You are running, but without effort. The land moves beneath you without resistance. Trees pass without blocking your path. The sky above changes colour, moving from day to night and back again in a slow, fluid cycle. Time does not hold shape here. You feel something else now, not fear, but intensity. A memory of tension from earlier, the animals in the distance, the stillness, the awareness. It returns, but softened, transformed. You observe it rather than feel it directly. It becomes part of the dream's rhythm, a reminder of the balance you live within. Your breath deepens again. Your body settles further. The dream loosens its hold, becoming less defined, more abstract. Colours, sensations, warmth, coolness, the feeling of belonging, of being held within something larger than yourself. Outside the dream, the fire dims further. The last small flames disappear, leaving only glowing embers that pulse faintly in the darkness. The circle of light shrinks, pulling inward, closer to the centre. The shadows grow, but they are not empty. They are full of quiet life. A soft rustle near the edge of the clearing, something small moving through the grass. A pause, then movement again. Your body does not wake, but it knows. Your breathing shifts slightly, just enough to acknowledge the sound, to confirm that everything remains as it should. Then it settles again, deeper, slower. Your dream becomes quieter now, less movement, more stillness. You're no longer walking, no longer observing. You are simply present, floating, resting. There are no clear images now, only sensations. Warmth from the fire, the steady rhythm of breathing around you, the vast quiet of the night stretching outward in all directions. Your mind releases, not holding, not forming, just drifting. And in this space, something subtle remains, a feeling of continuity, of connection, of being part of something that does not end when you sleep. The fire fades, the sounds of the wilderness continue, your breath slows further, and you drift deeper. The night reaches its quietest point. There is a moment, though no one measures it, when everything settles into near stillness. Not silence, but something close to it. A balance so delicate that even the smallest sound feels distant, softened by the vastness around it. You are still asleep, deep now, your body fully surrendered to rest, your muscles completely released, your breath steady and slow. Around you, the group lies in quiet connection. Bodies close enough to share warmth, to share subtle movement, to remain aware of one another even without waking. The fire is no longer a flame, only embers remain, small, faint, a soft glow that pulses gently, barely lighting the space, but enough to hold the memory of warmth. The air is cooler now. You feel it faintly, even in sleep, as it brushes against your skin, slipping through the spaces between bodies, settling lightly across the ground. The night is still, but not empty. Far beyond your circle, life continues. A distant animal moves through the darkness, its steps careful, deliberate. Another pauses, listening. The wind shifts slightly, carrying scents across the land. Earth, stone, something faintly alive. These sounds do not disturb you. They exist alongside your rest. One of the group stirs, not fully waking, just enough. Their eyes open slightly, unfocused at first, adjusting slowly to the darkness. They do not move immediately. They listen. The embers, the breathing, the distant sounds. They remain still for a moment longer, allowing their awareness to settle. Then slowly they shift their body, rising just enough to lean toward the fire. Their hand reaches out, feeling for the warmth, still there, but fading. They gather a small piece of dry material from nearby, something prepared earlier, something left for this moment. With careful, practiced movement, they place it gently onto the embers, a pause, a breath, then a faint flicker. Not a full flame, but enough. The glow deepens slightly, the warmth returning just enough to hold the edge of the night. They sit for a moment, watching, ensuring the balance is right. Not too much, not too little. Then they settle back down, eyes closing again. The group remains undisturbed. You remain asleep. Time passes, but not in the way it will one day be understood. No numbers, no divisions, only cycles, breath, stillness. Change so gradual it feels like nothing at all. And yet, something begins. So subtle it is almost impossible to notice. The darkness shifts, not lighter, just less complete. The air changes slightly. The wind carries a different tone. You do not wake, but your body senses it. The approach of something new, the slow return of light. You remain still, resting, breathing, held within the quietest moment of the night, a moment that belongs entirely to stillness, and yet, already, gently, it begins to move. The night reaches its quietest point. There is a moment, though no one measures it, when everything settles into near stillness. Not silence, but something close to it. A balance so delicate that even the smallest sound feels distant, softened by the vastness around it. You're still asleep. Deep now, your body fully surrendered to rest, your muscles completely released, your breath steady and slow. Around you, the group lies in quiet connection. Bodies close enough to share warmth, to share subtle movement, to remain aware of one another even without waking. The fire is no longer a flame, only embers remain, small, faint, a soft glow that pulses gently, barely lighting the space but enough to hold the memory of warmth. The air is cooler now. You feel it faintly, even in sleep as it brushes against your skin, slipping through the spaces between bodies, settling lightly across the ground. The night is still, but not empty. Far beyond your circle, life continues. A distant animal moves through the darkness, its steps careful, deliberate. Another pauses, listening. The wind shifts slightly, carrying scents across the land. Earth, stone, something faintly alive. These sounds do not disturb you. They exist alongside your rest. One of the group stirs, not fully waking, just enough. Their eyes open slightly, unfocused at first, adjusting slowly to the darkness. They do not move immediately, they listen. The embers, the breathing, the distant sounds. They remain still for a moment longer, allowing their awareness to settle. Then slowly they shift their body, rising just enough to lean toward the fire. Their hand reaches out, feeling for the warmth, still there, but fading. They gather a small piece of dry material from nearby, something prepared earlier, something left for this moment. With careful, practiced movement, they place it gently onto the embers. A pause, a breath, then a faint flicker. Not a full flame, but enough. The glow deepens slightly, the warmth returning just enough to hold the edge of the night. They sit for a moment, watching, ensuring the balance is right. Not too much, not too little. Then they settle back down. Eyes closing again, the group remains undisturbed. You remain asleep. Time passes, but not in the way it will one day be understood. No numbers, no divisions, only cycles, breath, stillness. Change so gradual it feels like nothing at all. And yet something begins, so subtle it is almost impossible to notice. The darkness shifts, Not lighter, just less complete. The air changes slightly. The wind carries a different tone. You do not wake, but your body senses it. The approach of something new. The slow return of light. You remain still, resting, breathing, held within the quietest moment of the night. A moment that belongs entirely to stillness. And yet, already, gently, it begins to move. The night deepens, not by becoming darker, but by becoming softer, more complete, as if every edge of the world has been gently rounded, every sharpness eased into quiet. You remain within it, your body still resting, your breath slow and steady, your awareness drifting somewhere between sleep and the faintest trace of waking. The embers beside you glow with a low, steady warmth, no longer reaching outward with flame, but holding inward, conserving, like a quiet memory of fire rather than its active presence. You do not open your eyes. There is no need. The world reaches you through other senses now, softer ones, slower ones. The cool air brushes lightly across your face, slipping past your skin in a way that feels almost like a whisper. It carries with it the scent of the earth after a long day, damp in places, dry in others, layered with traces of smoke that have settled into everything nearby. The smell is faint now, not sharp like earlier, but embedded, part of the space itself. Your body shifts slightly without waking, a small adjustment, your hand drawing closer to your chest, your legs curling just enough to hold warmth. Beside you, another breath rises and falls steady, close. The rhythm aligns with yours for a moment, then drifts, then returns again. This quiet synchronization happens without effort, without intention, like waves moving toward and away from one another in a slow, endless pattern. The night continues around you, not empty, never empty. A faint sound passes through the distance, low, stretched, almost carried by the ground rather than the air. It does not disturb you. It does not call you into alertness. It simply exists, another thread in the vast fabric of the world beyond your immediate space. Somewhere farther away, something moves, careful and deliberate, stepping through darkness that feels both protective and infinite. Your breathing deepens again. In, out. The space between each breath grows longer, not strained, but natural, as if your body is learning how little it needs to do in order to remain alive, present, sustained. The embers shift, a small collapse of ash, a faint settling of heat. The glow dims, then strengthens slightly, a slow pulse that continues without urgency. The warmth it gives is subtle now, reaching only a short distance, just enough to soften the edge of the cool air, just enough to remain. You drift again, not into dreams, not fully out of them, a space where awareness is thin, stretched, like light just before it fades. You begin to notice the silence differently, not as the absence of sound, but as a presence, a kind of fullness that holds everything without needing to define it. The sounds that remain, the distant movement, the soft breathing, the occasional whisper of wind, do not break this silence. They belong to it. Your body is heavy, not uncomfortable, but grounded, held by the earth beneath you in a way that feels certain, reliable, unchanged. The stone, the soil, the shape of the place where you rest, all of it has been here before you and will remain after you, and in this moment it holds you without question. You feel no need to move, no need to adjust. Everything is already aligned. Time passes, though it cannot be measured. It stretches, it folds, it moves without direction. And within it, something subtle begins again. Not light, not yet, but a change in the darkness, a soft thinning, as if the night is no longer pressing inward, but gently beginning to release its hold. Your breath shifts slightly, not enough to wake you, but enough to respond. The air feels different now, cool still, but less sharp, less dense. The wind carries a new tone, one that you do not consciously recognize, but your body does. A signal without language. A quiet message that something is approaching, something inevitable, something that does not rush. The return of light. You remain still, your eyes closed, your awareness deep, but closer now, closer to waking than before. Beside you, someone else stirs again, more noticeably this time. Their hand moves across the ground, fingers brushing lightly against stone, then settling again. Their breath changes, becoming slightly quicker, then slowing once more. They are not awake either, but they are moving toward it. The group shifts in small ways, each body responding in its own time, its own rhythm. No one rises, no one speaks, but the stillness begins to loosen, just slightly, like the first movement of water before it flows. The embers fade further. The last glow softens into a deeper red, then into something barely visible at all. The fire has finished its role, and yet its presence remains. In the warmth that lingers in the ground, in the scent carried in the air, in the memory held within your body, you breathe again, slow, deep, and for a moment, brief, quiet, you exist in complete stillness. No thought, no movement, only presence. The night holds you one last time, fully, gently, completely. And then, without sound, without signal, without anything that could be pointed to or named, it begins to change. The first light does not arrive as brightness. It arrives as absence. A quiet thinning of darkness, so gradual that it feels less like something appearing and more like something gently stepping aside. You do not see it at first. Your eyes remain closed, your body still resting, but somewhere beneath the surface of sleep, something shifts. Not sharply, not enough to wake you, but enough to begin. The air changes first. It carries a different weight now, lighter, less dense. The coolness remains, but it softens, losing the edge it held in the deeper hours of night. The wind moves differently, no longer wandering aimlessly, but settling into a direction, a quiet flow that brushes across your skin in slow, steady passes. Your breath responds. Without thought, it becomes slightly deeper, slightly fuller, as if your body is preparing to meet something new. Around you, the group rests in varying depths of sleep, each person held in their own quiet space, yet connected through the shared rhythm of breathing, of presence. One shifts, their shoulder pressing lightly into yours, and you feel it, not as interruption, but as reassurance. The closeness remains, the connection holds. You begin to rise toward waking, not abruptly, not fully, just enough for the world to begin reaching you again. A faint sound filters through, subtle at first, almost indistinguishable from the memory of sound within a dream. A distant call, soft and stretched. Then another, slightly closer. The voices of the early morning tentative, testing the edges of the returning day. Your eyelids remain closed, but the darkness behind them is no longer complete. There is a faint glow now, a softness that presses gently against your vision, like warmth without heat. You take a slow breath. In, out. The ground beneath you feels more defined now, its texture clearer against your skin. The slight unevenness, the firmness of stone beneath a thin layer of soil. It all becomes more present as your awareness returns. Nearby, another breath changes. Someone else is waking. Their inhale sharpens slightly, their body shifting, a hand moving across the ground as if searching for orientation. They do not rise yet. They remain within that same space between sleep and waking, where everything is slower, softer, more forgiving. You feel your fingers move, a small motion, unintentional. Then stillness again. The light grows, still not bright, but more certain. Your eyelids flutter slightly, not opening, just responding. The world presses gently closer, inviting rather than demanding. A bird calls again, clearer now, then another. The sounds begin to layer, not loud, not overwhelming, but present in a way that fills the space where silence once held everything. You open your eyes, not fully at first, just enough. The world appears in soft shapes, blurred at the edges, colours muted and calm. The sky above is pale, not yet blue, not yet gold, but something in between. A quiet canvas where light begins its slow return. You blink once, twice. The shapes sharpen slightly. The outline of the shelter, the forms of the others around you, the ground, the sky. Everything remains as it was, and yet everything is new. You lie still for a moment longer, watching the light grow, feeling your body awaken in small, gradual ways. Your muscles begin to engage not with tension, but with readiness. Your breath deepens again, filling your chest more fully. Beside you, someone sits up slowly, their movement unhurried, their eyes adjusting to the morning. They do not look at you immediately, they simply exist, just as you do, within the quiet unfolding of the day. Another shifts, then another. The group begins to wake, not together, not all at once, but in a gentle sequence, each person rising in their own time, their own rhythm, yet somehow aligned. You push yourself up slowly, your hands pressing lightly against the ground, your body lifting without strain. You sit, your spine straightening, your gaze moving outward toward the entrance of the shelter. The light reaches further now. Soft beams stretch across the ground, touching stone, brushing against skin, illuminating the space in a way that feels almost deliberate. Dust moves within it, tiny particles drifting, visible for a moment before fading again. You watch them, not thinking, just noticing. The air carries the scent of morning again, fresh, damp, alive. It is familiar, yet always slightly different, shaped by the night that has just passed, by the subtle changes in the land, by the quiet continuity of life. You stand, slowly. Your body responds easily, finding balance without effort. You take a step toward the entrance, your feet remembering the path without needing to look. As you reach the edge, the light touches you fully, warm, gentle. You close your eyes again, briefly, letting it settle across your face, your shoulders, your hands. The same light, and yet not the same. Because you are not the same. You open your eyes. The land stretches before you, just as it did yesterday, just as it will tomorrow. The trees, the stones, the distant horizon, all unchanged in form yet constantly shifting in subtle ways. Behind you, the others gather again, stepping into the light one by one, their movements quiet, familiar. There are no words, no signals, yet the shared understanding returns effortlessly. The day begins again, not as a repetition, but as a continuation. You take a breath, deep, full. The air fills you, and with it, something steady, something certain. You're here. You were here yesterday. You will be here again. The rhythm does not break. It flows, from waking to movement, from movement to rest, from rest to sleep, and back again. You step forward, out of the shelter, into the open morning. The ground beneath your feet feels cool again, the grass brushing lightly against your skin. Each sensation is both new and remembered, part of a cycle that does not need to be understood to be lived. The others follow, not in a line, not in order, but together. You move a few steps, then pause, turning slightly to look back at the shelter. The stone remains steady, unchanged, holding the memory of the night, the warmth of the fire, the quiet presence of those who rested within it. It is a place of return, but not a place to remain. Your gaze shifts forward again, toward the land, toward the day, toward everything that continues. You begin to walk, and as you do, you feel it, not as a thought, but as something deeper, that nothing has ended, that nothing truly begins, only movement, only cycles, only the quiet, endless unfolding of life moving through itself. The sun rises higher, slowly, patiently, its light spreading across the land, touching everything without preference, without intention. It reaches the stones, the trees, the ground beneath your feet, and it reaches you. You walk within it, part of it, carried by the same rhythm that has always been. And as the day opens once more, as the world reveals itself again in soft layers of light and sound, you continue, not as someone starting over, but as someone already in motion, already within the flow, already home within the endless return.